Hello everyone. So today I'm going to show you how to use EveryDollar. It's one of the best budgeting apps out there. So we're going to go through the process of just a little bit of the process of signing up and getting started with the app to create a budget that you can stick to, and that you can, it does require you to update it every month, but it carries over and it makes it super easy. So first of all, you're going to start by going to everydollar.com, and you can see that up in the top right there's a sign in button. When you click on that sign in, it will give you a place to put in your email. And if once you type in your email, I'm sorry, it skipped it for me because I'm already logged in. But once you type in your email, you can go. It'll recognize whether you already have an account or not. If you do not have an account, then it will automatically ask you to create a new password. It'll send you a verification link to your email, and you click on that, and you can continue the setup process. So I'm setting up a new account here, and it says, "Hey Josiah, welcome to EveryDollar. Let's start by looking at your money goals, then we'll help you build a custom budget so you can crush them all." So you press, once you're signed in, you press continue, and you're going to choose what your goal, your most important thing that you want to do, or what your goal is. So let's say that we are trying to save for a home. I'm going to press continue. You can press more than one. So we're trying to say we're trying to save for a home. And let's say that we have kids. Okay, so you completed the first step. Then you're going to type in your income. So let's say that you bring home, you have two people in the household. One person brings home $2,000 a month, and the other brings home $3,000 a month. And you could also rename them. So let's say he and her. All right, so we've got a $5,000 a month income here. So we're going to make a plan, and this is net. We're talking about take home because we got to be able to budget it. So we're going to make a plan for every dollar of your income by entering your expenses. Okay, so the basic expenses, continue. Food, utilities, shelter, housing, and transportation. Then everything else. So mortgage rent, let's say it's $1,200 a month. Let's say water is $60. Natural gas, $45. Electricity, and these are I'm just making up these numbers. Say electricity is $120. And cable, or internet, you could also call, if you don't have cable, you could do internet, let's say $80 a month. Trash, I know my trash is $160 every 2 months, so $80 a month. Okay, then car payment. Do you have a car payment? They will ask you about it later. So we're going to start with gas. How much does it cost you on a monthly basis for gas? Now you might not know these numbers if you have not been doing a budget, so you're going to want to look back over your expenses, look at your bank account, figure out how much you actually spent in gas last month, the month before. Think about how many trips you have planned. Think about how long your commute is and how many times you fill up on a regular basis, how much gas costs at the pump. But if it's not perfect, it's fine. I'm going to show you how to adjust it later. So we'll start with, let's say that our gas is $200 a month. And maintenance, you're going to want to save up for maintenance. Usually, if you don't save up for maintenance, you're going to want to at least plan the month ahead. That let's say that you know that you need an oil change this month. So let's say the oil change is going to cost you and maybe there's a couple other things that need to be done. So $75. And then groceries, let's look at, you have kids, and so let's say you're about $400 a month in groceries. And you're spending $100 out to eat. Okay, clothing, you're going to enter your personal expenses. So clothing, sometimes you're going to have clothing costs, other times you might not. You can also create, and we're going to talk about this later, but I'm going to show you how to create a fund where you actually could budget a certain amount every month that would add up, and then you could pull from that fund whenever you found that you did need clothes or needed to buy a new pair of shoes. So let's say $50 for clothing this month. And we can see at the top, you can see the progress bar, we now have $25.90 left to budget. So you can see that this light blue bar, that's going to be our housing expenses. And then the orange bar is our transportation budget, and then this blue bar is the food budget. So you can kind of start to see the percentages of how much you're putting towards specific budget categories. All right, so the phone. We're going to, let's say you have a phone bill and you've got 2 phones in the house. Let's say it's gonna, and you have unlimited. So let's say you're paying $100 a month. And then fund money. This is actually the key to a great budget, is making sure that you have some fund money. Where if you do not, if you are finding your willpower lacking, then this fund money gives you an opportunity to just have a little bit of space, a little bit of breathing room, that if you decide you want to go out to Starbucks and you don't have it in the budget, that you can use your fund money to do that. So we're going to keep it, let's go ahead and, we won't do too much here, but let's do enough, let's do $100 just for the fun of it. All right, hair cosmetics. Assuming that maybe someone's getting a haircut every month, maybe you're having to buy hair products and so forth. So let's say $50 a month. Subscriptions. Let's say you have a Costco membership, or let's say that you have an Amazon Prime subscription, or perhaps you have a YouTube Premium subscription, whatever the case. So let's go ahead and put in $30 a month for that. All right, so now we still have 2,310. And if this number feels a little high, like how come we have so much money left after basics? Remember that a lot of people have debt payments, a lot of people have, you have a lot of other expenses, or you spend more money on these categories than you think you will. So we're going to realize that the whole point of this budgeting is to know where your money's going, to actually figure out how much you really are spending so that you can be more intentional with how you allocate that money. All right, so giving. It's an important part of a healthy budget, no matter what your money goals are. So if you belong to a church, I'm assuming you probably are paying tithes or would like to pay tithes, and in this case, $5,000 a month net income, it could be $500 tithes. I know that some of you probably pay tithes on your gross income though, so $5,000 a month net would mean you probably are actually making a gross income of around $7,500. So let's say you're giving $750, whether it's tithe and offering or just tithe, depending on how you look at it. And then charity, let's say you like to give to a local charity, and you're doing $25 a month for that. Okay, so you're giving $775 this month. That leaves us with $1,500 left to budget. Now we got to look at debt. Okay, it's really hard, like they said in that blurb. I skipped past it really fast, but it's really hard to build a legacy with a lot of debt. So as you can see, we've only got $1,500 left to spend, and if we've got to put it towards all these loans, payments, credit cards, it can quickly eat up that budget. But let's say that you have you just have a few debts here. So your credit card minimum payment perhaps is $75 a month. You've got a car payment. The average car payment is between $400 and $600 a month. So let's say you are a little bit more wise with your car payments, and I don't know if any car payment is completely wise, but let's say you were a little bit better about not making sure it wasn't too high when you bought the car. So $350 a month. Student loans. Let's say you've got some student loans and you've got maybe I mean, student loan payments can be pretty high, but let's say it's a $400 a month student loan payment. And we don't have any medical bills, hopefully. Personal loan, hopefully you don't have any personal loans, but let's say that you just got some money to start a business from someone and you're paying them $100 a month back. So put $100 in there. Okay, so now EveryDollar is telling you that you're spending too much money in debt. So they're going to suggest that you take Financial Peace University and get lesson 2, which is about paying off debt. Okay, you've got $610 left to budget. So now we need to do something with that. We can build our savings. We can pay off debt. We'll take a look and see what the options are. Okay, and it gives you an option to unlock access to premium features of EveryDollar Plus. So with EveryDollar Ramsey Plus, it's actually at Ramsey Plus now because it includes more than just EveryDollar. You get to it'll automatically sync your transactions to your bank accounts, which allows you to more easily get your transactions into the program, and then you can budget them. You can kind of drag and drop the transactions instead of typing them in manually. At first, I might suggest that you do it manually so that you actually know what you are spending. But also as part of Ramsey Plus, you can see you also get Learn with Financial Peace, so Financial Peace University. You can track your income with the baby steps, and you can actually try this out for 14-day free trial, or you can just continue with the basic for now. So now we've got it all set up. We've got our income for July, he and her, $2,000, $3,000, total of $5,000 a month planned for July. And we're actually at the end of July, so I probably, if I was you, I would actually start this while I'm recording this video. Since it's the end of July, I would have done this for August, because you want to plan your next month's expenses. Okay, so giving, we've got church and charity. You can see it shows you that what you have planned, and it shows you what you have remaining. So what does that mean? That means that you, even though you said you were going to give $750, there's no transaction yet for the $750. So all of these, you still have all of this money left to pay. So as you push plus on transactions, you're going to drop them into these categories, and it's going to reduce the remaining amount to whatever you have left in that bucket. So each of these categories is like a bucket of money that you are trying to, a bucket of money that you're using for these particular reasons. All right, so we still have at the top $610 left to budget. So in EveryDollar budget means that every dollar that we're making for the month is categorized toward something. So we need to take that $610 and we need to put it towards something. So we've got lifestyle down here that we haven't even touched yet. Remember, we said that we had 2 kids, or we said we had children. I didn't say how many, but let's say we have 2, and one of them, let's say that we need to do a little bit of childcare. Maybe not a lot, but maybe we're paying $300 a month in childcare. Okay, and let's say we don't have any pets because the kids are enough. And entertainment. Let's leave that off for now because that's often entertainment is usually going to be additional on top of after we do everything else. So, but let's say that we might have unexpected expenses that we're not necessarily planning on, but we want to make sure that we're ready for them. So let's say we have $100 a month towards miscellaneous. Okay, and we've got gym, medicine, vitamins, doctor visits, all of those. Let's say your doctor visits are covered by your health plan, and you already have, maybe you have an HSA account, health savings account that you're pulling money out of, so hopefully you don't have to pay anything for doctor visits. But if you do, you can put it in the plan there. We've got gym. Let's say that because we only have $200 left to budget, so if you have a gym membership, you're going to need to make more money, or we're going to have to figure out how to take money out of these other categories. Maybe you don't have as much debt, and so you can put more money towards the gym membership. But let's say that we cancel the gym membership because we can't afford it right now. We have medicine and vitamins. Let's say that we put that into a different. Say we don't really need any medicine or vitamins right now. Hopefully, I'm just looking at the left of budget. We're realizing that we don't really have a whole lot of money left, so we're gonna have to figure something out here. So we've got health insurance. Let's say the employer pays it. Life insurance. Let's say you've got a $300 a year life insurance policy, and you've got to pay about $25 a month towards that. Okay, auto insurance. Everyone has auto insurance, and so most people do. So let's say that it's we've done the minimum, and we're only paying $100 a month, or maybe even $80 a month towards auto insurance. It's probably going to be higher than that. Homeowners, renters, insurance, that's usually covered in an escrow account. If it's renter's insurance, it sometimes is included in your rent, so we'll leave that out for now. Identity theft, we'll have to leave that out for now because we're running out of money here. And then we've got all of the debt payments. So this is one of the, as they already gave you a clue, having all of this debt is not good. We probably need to pay this down. So what do you do with that last $100? Well, I would suggest that you push it towards the debt. So you can put it into one of these other budgets. Let's say we're going to put extra money towards, or we're going to pay off the credit card even more. So this month, we're going to change this to 75 plus 105. Sometimes it's helpful to have a little calculator there. If you don't have a calculator, one way that I do it, or if you can't calculate it quickly in your head, one way that I do it is I just mark it to 0, and then it tells me I have 180 left, so it calculated it for me, and then I just put 180 in there. And there we go. It's an EveryDollar budget. You now have the green check mark telling you that you did it right, that you've got an EveryDollar budget. So now we start putting money into the right categories. So let's show you how to do a transaction. So we click on transactions, and we're going to add new. And if you were connected to your bank account, had EveryDollar Plus, this would automatically come in, but it's a couple days late, so sometimes you still want to add it manually. Okay, let's say you just got your paycheck, or one of you just got the paycheck, and where did we spend this money? Actually, I'm sorry, we have to make sure we categorize it as income. So income, where did this money come from? Came from, I'm just going to say work paycheck. Okay, so let's put it in he and track income. There are more options. You can do a check number and notes if you want. You don't have to do that. Okay, no thanks on the EveryDollar Plus for now. Alright, so now at the top you can see it's turned green. We've got a green bar now. If you only put in 1,000, if I take this and well, you'd have to actually click on, once you click on that category, you can see it shows the transactions over here. If I change that transaction to 1,000, you'll see that the green bar it'll go to half. So it's going to show you on a green bar how much you've received for the month that you planned. Let's say your paycheck was less than you planned. Then you're going to have to adjust it, and then you'll have to adjust your expenses to match the income. The point is that you're using this to actually figure out and be intentional about knowing how much you are receiving and how much you are spending out of the money that you've received for the month. Alright, let's go ahead and make a transaction for something that's been spent. Let's say you went ahead and started first for this month. You went ahead and paid your tithes and offering. Okay, so we're going to add new, and we're going to add $750 here. We spent this money, let's say, to community church. Okay, we're going to go ahead and put it into the church budget and track the expense. Okay, and you can see remaining. Boom, it just dropped. We don't have any money remaining. But if you actually click this, you can change this to spent, and now it shows you now it shows you that you've spent $750. So it's the opposite. So you can see that charity for $25, we haven't spent the charity money yet. And if we change this, we can actually see that we haven't spent the charity money. We have $25 remaining, and we have spent the church money. We have $0 remaining for our giving church budget. Okay? So now, I'm going to show you we're going to add one more transaction for this demonstration. And we're going to do it, instead of clicking on the top plus transactions, we're going to actually do it a little bit simpler way. We don't have to categorize it, because if we click on the category first, like water, let's say our water bill just got paid and we can see it come out of our bank account, or then we're going to go ahead and, instead of clicking up here, we're going to click down here, add new. And now it already is categorized as water, so it's going to be a slightly simpler step here. Okay, so we got the bill. Let's say we found out the bill was $58 instead of $60. Okay, so we're going to track expense. Now you can see the green bar is not quite to the end. We still have $2 left, but we don't have any more money coming out for water this month. So what we can do is we can take that planned amount and we can adjust it. So you should be continually adjusting your budget every month, adjusting your budget so that what the expenses that are actually coming out match what you've budgeted for those expenses. Okay, so we're going to change this to 58, and that means we now have $0 remaining. We have 58 planned instead of 60. If we change this to spent, we can see, okay, we spent $58 out of the 58 we had planned. Okay, but that leaves us $2 left to budget on the top here. So we're going to take those $2 and we're going to put it towards something else. $2 more towards our credit card debt. Hallelujah. There you go. All right, so that's kind of the basics of running the budget here. And I want to show you one other thing, and then actually two other things, and then I'm going to explain, before I do that, I wanted you to notice that nowhere in here does it really, this budget does not work well, I should say, with a credit card. So if you're actually still using credit cards to make purchases, this app does not work well with that, because the premise of this app is that you are spending the money that you actually are making. And when you're spending on a credit card, you're not spending money that's yours. You're spending the bank's money or the credit card company's money, and then you're paying them back. So I've tried to finagle credit cards into this budget when we were spending with credit cards, and it didn't work very well. So you can try to figure out something on your own if you really wanted to continue using credit cards, which I would not suggest. But if you were going to continue using credit cards, there are other budgeting apps out there that you might want to consider that are better suited for credit card spending. All right, but we do have a credit card payoff right here, debt, because that's what the credit card is. It's the money that you owe. All right, now let's jump to, so there's two other things, as I said. So one of those is a fund. As you can see here, there's a savings for an emergency fund. This is dangerous. We have all of this debt, we have all of these expenses, and we have no emergency fund. We have planned $0 towards the emergency fund, and we have spent, therefore, $0 to put towards it. Okay, so we can't really put any money towards it right now. What I would suggest is that you try to pay off that debt as quick as possible so that you can get that emergency fund, or you stop paying on the debt. We take that credit card, since we don't have any emergency fund, we take that credit card extra money we're going to put towards the credit card, and we build up a small emergency fund first. Because if you don't have an emergency fund, what are you going to spend? What are you going to use to cover an emergency? a credit card. So that credit card debt is just going to go up, and it's just going to be a constant cycle if you don't have some cash set aside to cover those small emergencies. All right, so that's a fund. What that means is that if I put $50 towards the fund, then it will build up for the next month, and I can continue adding to that fund. It's like a piggy bank, as you can see the little piggy bank symbol next to it. Okay, I'm going to show you one of these items where we can actually do that. So here we have life insurance. Life insurance is often an annual payment, so we've planned 25, but let's say that it's actually we actually owe 25 times 12, so $300 once a year. So we're going to take that 25, we're going to go ahead and turn this into a fund. So right here there's a button that says make this a fund, and we have a starting balance of 0. We need, savings goal is 300 because we want it, like I said, this is for a $300 annual payment. So we're going to save this goal, and you're going to put $25 a month towards this goal, and then when you get to that life insurance payment, hopefully in 12 months, then you can take that $25 a month, or you can take all the money that's been saved up in that piggy bank, and you can put it towards the life insurance payment. Okay? Notice that this is one way to avoid having to have multiple accounts for all of the different things that you're saving for. You can create new budgets for anything that you are trying to save for. You do not have to stick to the budgets that are here. In fact, you can even add new categories. If you go to the this little arrow here, you can actually make these disappear, as you can see. But you can add item for each of these categories, and at the very bottom you can add a group, or you can add, so like you have a section that's called debt. You can add another group. Let's say that you've got business expenses or career expenses. So you can add a group of those business and career expenses. And the last thing I want to show you is the insights. So once you've been working with this for a little while, you can see some quick insights on the right side here. You can see that we're putting 16% of our income towards giving. We're putting 32% of our giving we're putting 32% of our income towards housing, which is that's pretty straightforward. And then we've got about 10% of our income going towards food, 21% towards debt. So that's something we need to work on. But that's kind of the percentages. I do have some recommended percentages that I can share for anybody who asks. You can always send me an email or call me and tell me you want it, and I will definitely send that to you. Some recommended percentages of what you should be. But the problem, I'm not going to share it necessarily here because it's going to differ for every person. Some people are going to have a lot more money set aside for housing because they live in a more expensive area, perhaps. Or they might give a lot more. Or you might have less debt and you can put a lot more towards, let's say that you're in a position where you've got plenty of extra money to spend, and you want to live, you want to be able to spend more money for your lifestyle and enjoy trips and stuff like that. So then you might have a higher percentage towards lifestyle. So it's going to be specific to you. If you want to get more detailed into your insights, as you use EveryDollar, I'm sorry, you have to have Ramsey Plus to do the insights. But this is the kind of things that if you had Ramsey Plus, you could see these insights. You can see a spending breakdown of all the stuff that you've spent over a specific amount of time. You can set it to 12 months or year to date or the last 6 months. You can actually change the time frame so you can see how much you've spent within that time frame, how much you've made within a particular time frame. And then you can see categories of where you've spent the most money, where you've spent the least money. And then you've got income, a graph of how much money you've made versus how much you're spending. And so the goal is that you are always spending less than you make. When you first start using this, though, if your finances are in a mess, you might find it the opposite, that you're spending more than you make. I know that I was in that position for a short time of my life. So I would suggest this is why we're using this tool, so that we don't have that situation, so that we recognize where we're spending our money, how much we're making, and whether we need to make more, what we need to do to decrease the spending and get to a point where we are spending the money that we know we have. All right, I hope that was helpful for you. Go back to the budget here. I hope that was helpful for you, and I'm going to encourage you to use this app and to check up on it on a regular basis, to put all your transactions into the app and really be intentional and focused with your money so that you can be more financially successful now and especially in the future.